want to learn how to create amazing game environments and assets? 3D Tutor now has a massive library of courses, whether you're interested in medieval or stylization, sci-fi or low poly, kit bash to Oriental fantasy. You can find it all in one place at 3D Tutor. Find me across multiple platforms or over on Patreon, where you'll not only be able to support my work, but have access to hundreds of hours of tutorials. If this sounds too good to be true, then check out the links down below. And now, let's get started with the video. Welcome everyone, it's Neil here from 3D Tutor, back today with another tutorial. And this time I'm going to be covering how to model a Oriental roof. Now, these styles of roofs are extremely complex, but like many things we model, it's up to you how far you want to take the details of your model. So I'm going to show you how to make a Oriental roof to a decent level, and as we go through, I'll explain what you could do to push the model even further. Now, down below this video, you'll find a link to a download pack that comes with this tutorial. Because not only are we going to be modeling the roof, but also I'll be showing you how to mark seams and add textures to create a fully fledged roof. So enough of all that, let's get started on how to model a Oriental styled roof. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to left click on the camera, I'm going to left click on the point light, and I'm just going to delete them out of the way. Then I'm going to grab my cube, and this is going to be the base for my actual Oriental roof. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all make it a little bit bigger, just so we've got something a bit bigger to work with, and then I'm going to press S and Y and just pull it out on the Y axis, something like that. And I think with my roof I actually want it to be slightly longer on this way than the X. So if I press S and X, I'm going to make it something a little bit like a rectangle. Next thing I want to do is I want to bring in the top. So I'm going to press tab to go into edit mode, come to face select, grab the top face, press the S button and bring it in. And basically what I'm looking to do with this top is bring it in far enough so that we can put a piece of wood going along the top. So you can see here that that piece of wood would need to be really thick if this was left like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press S and X and bring it in like so. And now I can see that basically I've got a nice width there to put a piece of wood. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some edge loops. So I'm going to press Ctrl R. I'm going to scroll my mouse wheel up probably 5 or 6 times, something like that. So let's try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's try one more, 6. And then I'm going to left click, right click to drop them in place. Now this part is really important because we're going to use these edge loops in the future to actually bend this actual roof. So that's why we're putting those in now, just ready for when we actually want to bend it. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to come to face select, come underneath my actual roof, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this face out of the way. So I'm going to press delete, faces, and there we go. You should end up with something like that, and this basically is the start of our roof. So just make sure that you're happy with it. Don't worry though, because in the future we can alter this if needed, if it's too wide or not high enough or anything like that. Now let's make a start on our actual roof tile. So what I'm going to do is first of all I'm going to grab the top of here, I'm going to press Shift S, cursor to selected, and now I'm going to press tab, and now when I bring in my part of the roof, it will come where my cursor actually is. So if I press Shift A to bring in a primitive, come over to where mesh is, come down to cylinder, and then you'll see that we've got a cylinder that comes in where the cursor is. Now down the bottom left hand side, don't move this around or anything, you'll see that we have an option that we can open up and change the number of vertices. So because this roof is quite high poly, we really don't want it on 32 vertices. We need to bring that down a little bit just to make sure that we're not dealing with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of polygons. So if we come over to vertices and turn this to something like 20, that should still give us that nice rounded appearance. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to bring it out a little bit, and you can see at the moment I don't have a gizmo. So if I press Shift Spacebar, come to move, and now I can bring it out like so. And now what I want to do is just establish how thick this needs to be. So I'm going to make it a little bit thinner, something like that. And then I'm going to rotate this round. So at the moment, when I bring in the roof tiles, you will start to see exactly what I'm going to do here. At the moment, it's not quite so obvious though. So if I press 1 on the actual number pad, or Control 1, which takes me to the opposite side, and now what I can do is I can actually make it a little bit smaller and now rotate it. So if I press R and Y, I can actually rotate it so it's actually following this line. And now what I want to do is I want to come in with face select, grab this face, and then come up to this where it says global, and you're going to come down to where it says normal, and then you're going to press Shift Spacebar because we're in edit mode and bring in our move tool. Now you'll notice if I press Ctrl 1 that I can actually pull it from the angle that this is because I've put this on normal. So if I pull it all the way down, and now we can see that we do have a problem in that this is certainly not level. So all you can do now is you can actually grab it and pull it back into the actual roof, and now you can make sure that it's all nice and level. And what else I'm going to do is then I'm just going to grab the top of it and just pull it down a little bit because my piece of wood will be going across here and it will be hiding this part anyway. Alright, so once you've got that, what we want to do now is actually bring in some more edge loops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Ctrl R, I'm going to scroll my mouse wheel up to something like 5, let's try that, left click, right click, and then while you've got these selected, just press Ctrl B, and what that's going to do is it's actually going to bevel it off. So I'm going to bevel them off like so, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come, put this back on global, and then I'm going to come to these interlocking links, I'm going to put these on individual origins. Now, why have I done that? Well, I'm going to actually extrude them, so I'm going to press E and then enter, and then you're going to press S and you're going to push those in like so. And now if you press the tab button, you'll see that we've got some breaks between these which look really good actually, and making them look as though we've actually got different roof tiles going into each other. That's exactly what we want. Now the next thing we want to do is we need to add some edge loops into each of these because we will be bending this roof eventually, and we need more edge loops. If I press tab, you can see there's nothing that's going to be able to bend here because we don't have enough edge loops in there. So what we'll do is we'll come to the top one, we'll press Ctrl R, scroll it up to 3, left click, right click, and just work your way around. Now the reason we go into this much trouble as well is because if I'm going to put these roof tiles all the way around my roof, I want to make sure that they're done perfectly. So I'm going to bring them in like so. So Ctrl R on each one of these, 3, left click, right click, Ctrl R, 3, left click, right click. Alright, so now I just want the bottom of here as well to be a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab the bottom of here, I'm going to then come over to where proportional editing is, click this on, just make sure that connected only is off, so you've got nothing ticked on here, and that smoothing is on. Then all you're going to do is you're going to come, you're going to press the S button, and you'll see now that we can actually start to actually make the bottom of it slightly thicker than the top, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Next of all, now I want to bring this in. So we need, you know, that certain style that Oriental roofs actually have. So if I press I, that means I can insert it then, bring it in a little bit, left click, and then you can use the extrude again. So press E and just push it back, and now you'll see that we end up with something like this. Now what we can do is we can right click, shade smooth, come over to your little triangles on the right hand side, come where it says normal and click on auto smooth. And you should end up with something like that. And you can see already it's looking really, really nice. It's actually starting to come together already. That's exactly what we want. Alright, so the next thing we want to do now is create the little parts of the roofs that actually come down in each one of these. So in other words, we've got one of these, then we've got some roof tiles, and then we've got one of these. The other thing as well is we really want to actually mark our seams on here so that we can start to bring some materials in and before we actually do anything with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the back of it first, hide it out of the way, and then I'm going to come to this first roof panel, and I'm just going to come in now and mark some seams. So I'm going to mark some seams on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Alt, Shift and click, and you'll see that it grabs them going all the way around there. I'm going to right click, come down, mark seam, and then just work your way around. So Alt, Shift and click, Alt, Shift, click, right click, mark seam, something like that. Now you will also notice that we do have a n-gon here, which means that it's got more than 4 sides. So we might as well fix that as well, just so we're not going to have any problems further down the line. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to right click, triangulate faces, and that's actually fixed that for us. And because we've already marked the seams in there, then we don't really need to do anything else with that. Now let's come in, and what we'll do now is we'll do the same thing on each of these. So Alt, Shift and click on each of these, going all the way up on the inner and the outer like so. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit like so, and then just keep working your way up like so till we get to the top. So right click and mark seam. Now we just need to fill in this face as well, so I'm going to come to face select, grab this face, right click, triangulate faces, and there we go. Now we're nearly ready to unwrap this. Let's first of all though come in and actually grab the back side of it. So if I press, let's see, if I press 3, you can see there that now I can grab this. I'm going to press Alt, Shift and click. It's going to grab it going all the way down, right click and mark seam. And the reason we're marking a seam there is because it's the back side of it, so you can never see it. And if we don't do that, this is going to be an infinite loop. In other words, Blender's going to try putting a texture on here. It's just going to loop round and round and round. That's not something we want either. All right, so the next thing we want to do now is we want to actually unwrap this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab everything with A. I'm going to come over to UV editing. And then what I'm going to do is I first of all though, need to make sure I reset my transformations. If I don't reset the transformations, this won't unwrap correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Tab, Control A, all transforms, right click, set origin to geometry, tab, and now I can press U and unwrap. And now you can see they've unwrapped okay. Now, one of the problems that we might have with this unwrapping like this is that when I bring my texture in, which I will do in a minute, you might find that some of these textures or some of these are actually going the wrong way around. So it's a good idea to bring your textures in now and get them sorted before you actually carry on. So let's do that now. Now, the first thing I recommend before you bring in those textures from that download pack, which is down below, is if you come over to Edit, come down to Preferences, and then what you're going to do is you're going to come to one that says Add-ons. You're going to come to where the search is here. I'm just going to put in Rang, and you'll see that you've got one called Node Wrangler. Just make sure that's ticked on, and then close this down. Now, let's come over to our shading panel. Let it load up. And now what we'll do is we'll come over to our material, which is this button here, and then let's zoom in a little bit and see what these textures are going to look like. So I'm going to press plus, click new. I'm going to call this dark red tiles, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over now to my principal. I'm going to click on it, so there's a white line going around it. I'm going to press Control, Shift and T, and then you'll notice that your file actually opens up. Now all you need to do is go to the file where your downloads are. So here are mine, and you can see here I've got roof tiles dark, roof tiles light, so I'm going to bring in the roof tiles dark. So double click this on. You'll notice that within here, not only have I included all the Blender files for the textures, but I've also included the Unreal Engine files as well, just in case you want to take it into Unreal, then you've got all of the actual textures and materials there as well. So let's come in though and bring just the Blender files in. So I'm going to Shift select all these, click the principled, let it load up, and there we go. So you can see now that's exactly how they're going to look. Now you can see, like I said, some of these are actually going the wrong way around and some of them are going the right way around. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to decide, so if I go to modeling, I'm going to put it onto Eevee, and I'm actually going to press tab, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a light now. So I'm going to press Shift A, bring in a sun, so let's bring in a sun, Shift spacebar to bring in my move tool, and I'm just going to pull that over this way, bring it up a little bit, and then I'm just going to rotate it. So R, Y, just rotate it round, and then R, Z, and rotate it round this way. So you've got a nice kind of light shining on there. And now just have a look at your actual roof tiles and just decide, are you happy with them? Are they going the right way? So I think looking at this, these ones here are certainly going the wrong way. So what I can do now, I can go to my UV editing and come to my actual roof tiles. And then what I can do is I can come in with face select and grab each one of these, zoom out a little bit, and now I can see which way these are going. So now I can press A, R, 90 without proportional editing on, so just click that off, R, 90, and spin them round. G, just put them back in place. Now let's have a look at any others that we've got going the wrong way. So now we can see that the whole facing this way, except, so this one's definitely the wrong way. I'm just going to go down. So this one, so we've got this one and this one. Let's go this one, same way, and this one. And then I'm going to AR90 spin them round. Now let's come into the other ones. So these should all be facing the right way now. So let's have a look. And they're all facing the right way, as you can see. So now we've got everything facing the right way now. They look really, really nice. So that's basically that part done, ready for the next part. So let's come in back to modeling. And now what we'll do is we'll put this back on material, and I'm going to bring in the next part of the roof tiles. So I'm going to press Alt H, bring back my main part of my roof, and then I'm going to press Shift A, and we're going to bring in a cube. And there's the cube. Let's press S to make it smaller. let's bring it slightly to the side and let's bring it over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press S and X just to squish it in on there to make it like a roof tile. And then I'm going to make it, I think I need to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to press S and Z like so, and then S and Y like so. And I think something like that I'm actually happy with. So now what I want to do is I just want to position it about halfway into this other roof tile. And then I'm going to pull it down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press 3 on the number pad or 1 on the number pad, just so I've got the side view there. Now let's press R and Y and just spin it round. And what I want to do with this roof tile is I want to make sure that it's slightly level up on the end of here, because I want to put another roof tile underneath this going all the way down. So you'll see exactly what I mean by that in a minute. So I'm just going to lift it up and out slightly just so it's near the top of there. And then what I need to do is I need to come in with my array. I'm just thinking as well that I might want to pull it out a little bit. Let's come into add modifier and we're going to add in a array modifier. And you'll see there that we've got one underneath there. And now what you need to do is you just need to mess around with this and see where you need it to go. So I'm going to pull it down to there so it's on 1. And then let's pull the Z down like so. So I want it going underneath like that. Now you will see that if I press 1 again, you'll see now if I bring in my count, so turn my count up like so. Once I'm down to the bottom, I'm going to have a really good idea of how many of these I need, how long I need, and how far they are out. So you can see at the moment, they're actually quite far out, because as we get further down the bottom, they're actually going into the roof. And that's not something I want. So how do I fix that? Well, there are a number of ways. First of all, let's get the bottom of it coming down to something like here. So what I'll do is I'll grab the bottom of it with face select, put this back on normal, shift spacebar to bring in our move tool again, and then let's pull this down very slowly. Now you can hold the shift button as well when you're pulling it down just to make it even slower. And there we go. We just want it dropping over the edge of here, but not as far as this one here. So that's that bit sorted. Now if I grab the whole thing again and I press 1 again, now what I can do is I can rotate this in edit mode. So if I press R and Y, you'll see now, if I bring them back this way, look, that we can get so far and then they start going into the roof again. So what that means is I'm just going to right click that. I'm going to press tab instead. I'm going to press R and Y and rotate them the other way. Again, I'm going to be holding the shift button just to get them so they're going all the way down there. Now you can see that they're fitting in really, really perfectly and against the roof, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Now again, before we actually bring in this array, so before we actually apply it, we might as well fix these roof tiles and make sure that we've got textures on them just for the next part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my actual main part of my roof again, and I'm going to hide it out of the way. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to these parts, come to this one here. I'm going to come in and actually mark some seams. So seams I'm going to mark here are going to be in each of the corners. You can see that I've just managed to grab that, but if you can't see it, just grab the other part of the roof, press H, and now you can come in and finish marking your seams like so. Right click and mark seam. And now what I want to do is I actually want to press tab and I need to apply this modifier. So I'm going to press Ctrl A just to apply that. So hover over it, Ctrl A, and now that modifier is applied. Now let's come in, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab the bottom of here with shift select. Apart from the bottom one, I'm going to press delete and faces and just get rid of those. And the reason I'm doing that is just so I haven't got all these polygons that I don't need on the rest of my roof. Because remember, we're going to be making a lot of these roof panels. Now let's come to the bottom one. I'm going to press Ctrl E, come down, mark seam. And there you go. Now if I press Alt H, bring everything back, we should end up with something like this. And now we want to bring in our actual textures for this roof part here. So again, now let's press tab, let's press A, let's press U and unwrap. And at the moment, you'll see that it says objects as non-uniform scale. Now the reason for that is because I first of all need to reset all my transforms. So let's press Ctrl A, all transforms, right click, set origin to geometry, tab, U, unwrap. And now you'll notice no problems there. Now before we go and have a look at what this looks like, we need to bring in our material. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my shading panel again. I'm going to press the plus button, new. I'm going to call these roof tile light, like so. Then let's come to the principled again, Ctrl Shift T, let's find the roof tiles light, which is these ones here. Click the first one, shift select the bottom one, principled, and then we should end up with something like this. Now you can see a lot of these are going the wrong way. So you can see that some are going this way and some are pointing down. So we really need to fix that. All right, so let's go and fix that now. So what we'll go is UV editing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the ones that are going the wrong way. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab these, and this. And then I'm going to press A, R, 90 and spin them round. And there you go. You should end up with something like that. And you can see now that they're looking really, really nice. Now we've done that. Now we can come back to modeling. And now we can actually transfer this going all the way around our roof. Now we've got those actually sorted out. But I think before we do that, what we should do is we should bring our piece of wood in that actually make up this kind of swirl that you often get on Oriental roofs. So how do we make these little swirls here? Well, first of all, I'm going to grab my roof. I'm going to make sure that I'm on global. I'm going to press 7 to go over the top. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Z, come over to where it says wireframe, and now I can see right through this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press R and Z, and I'm going to spin this round so that it is level with this green line here. So the way to do that is you can see that we have actually got a point of reference here in this white line here. So if I zoom in a little bit, you'll see here. Now all you need to do is just make sure that it's near enough, perfectly level with that. So you can see I need to spin it just a little bit more. So RZ, just spin it round just a tiny bit more like so. And now you can see it's nearly enough level there. Now why have I done that? Well, if I press Z and go back to solid, you'll see now that because this is level with this line here, it means I can actually draw a line and go around. So let me show you exactly what I mean. So first of all, we're going to come in, vert select, grab this vertex here, press Shift S, cursor to selected. Tab, let's bring in now plane, so Shift A, plane, let's spin it round, so RY 90, let's make it bigger, S, and now you can see that this plane is near enough, perfectly in line with this, and that's exactly what we want. Now let's bring in an actual curve, so Shift A, curve, Bezier curve, and you'll see that this curve's come in like that. It doesn't matter at all you need to do though to do this little trick is press Tab, A to grab all the vertices, delete vertices. Now you will notice that our Bezier curve is still here. That's exactly what we want. So now if I come over to the left hand side, grab this little pen here which has got all these kind of handles on it where it says draw, click on it and then come over to where it says tool and you'll see one that says surface. Click the surface on. Now if I press 3 on the number pad, in fact Control 3 so I've got the right size, now I can draw exactly where I want this to go. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, I'm going to start at the top and I'm just going to draw a line going down, sticking relatively close, and I'm doing this with my mouse. You can use a tablet if you've got it, but I'm sticking relatively close to here, and as I get down to the bottom I'm going to sweep out and I'm just going to make that kind of Oriental swirl like so, something like that, and that I think will do the job right there. All right, so let's press Tab, let's get rid of our plane, and now you'll end up with something like that. Okay, so how do we actually change this now into what we actually need? So you'll notice because it's a curve over the right hand side, we actually have another option now where it says curves, and then what I want to do is I actually want to open the geometry. And what I want to do is I want to turn the depth of this up. So if I turn the depth of this up and then I reduce the resolution to 0, and you'll see you end up with something like this. Now you can right click and shade flat, and that then is going to give you a really good idea of what this is going to look like. Now at this point you can come in now and mess around with these. So if I press Tab, come to my movement tool, you can see I can grab these. And if you really want to move them around, just grab them with proportional editing on. And now you see you can actually move them around to your heart's desire. I'm not actually going to move mine too much. I think I'm happy with how mine are. So all you need to do now is just make sure that you're happy with the thickness. Now you will see at the moment, I need to put the thickness up because I need my roof tiles to actually fit in here. So I'm just going to turn them up to, let's say 0.17, something like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lift these up just a little bit. Like so. I'm just going to take my proportional editing off for just 1 second, just lift them up just so they're not actually touching, and I'm just going to grab this one bring it up just to keep that nice swirl there. Alright, so I'm really happy with that. You can see they're really in line with this, so that's good. Now we need to actually change this then into an actual piece of mesh instead of being an actual curve. So all you need to do is you need to come to Object, Convert, and Mesh from Curve, click that on, and now you'll see we've actually got it as mesh, which is really great. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to fill these holes in, so I'm going to come to each side of these, press the F button, that's going to fill that one in, and then I'm going to do the same with the top. So I'm going to grab this side and this side, press the F just to fill in the face, and there we go. Now we need to actually get this back. So what I want to do is I want to grab this actual piece of wood here, grab my roof and press Ctrl P, and you're going to set parent to object. Now when I grab my roof and spin it, so RZ, you'll see that this actually comes along with it. So now what we need to do is we need to just come back to the roof, come to item, and you'll see this is the rotation that we actually set it at. So if I come in now and set this to 0, now we'll get our roof exactly where we had it when we started, and everything's back to normal. And of course, we've got these actual pieces of wood here. So now we need though, is we need to actually take the actual parent off of this piece of wood, because it'll always be there and it'll be kind of irritating when we're trying to move this around. So all you need to do is you need to press Alt P this time, and you need to clear and keep transformation. So if I click that on now, you'll see now that we've got our piece of wood here, and it still says 39.3 degrees. Now I recommend, because we're going to bring in a mirror, that we actually get this to 0. So all we need to do is we need to just reset the transformation. So Control A, all transforms, everything's reset, this is in the right place, and we're good to go. So now before we actually put this over the other sides, the best thing to do is actually, first of all, shade smooth, come over, normal, auto smooth on, and there we go. Just make sure that you're happy with it. Now we also need to mark a seam in this, and we need to mark some sharps in just so we can keep these nice sharp edges. So let's do that now. What I tend to do actually is I'll click on it and I'll click the little question mark just to isolate everything out of the way, and then I've just got this to work on. So now if I press tab, I'll come in, I'll grab this one and this one first, I'll press Ctrl E and I'll mark a seam, and I'll press Ctrl E again and I'll mark a sharp at the same time. Then what I'll do is I'll come in, Alt Shift and click going all the way around. Same for this one, same for this one, and the same for this one. I'm going to right click, mark a seam, right click and mark a sharp. And there we go. That is that absolutely ready now. So now let's bring in some materials again. So again, we'll come to our shading panel. We'll come to this piece of wood. We'll press Tab, A, U, Unwrap, and then we'll bring in our material. So plus, new, and we'll call this green wood. And then again, we'll come to our principled, Control Shift T, find your green wood, which is this one here. I'm going to grab not the UE4, just all the blender ones, principled, let it load up, and let's have a look now what that looks like. And we can see there, we do have some slight issues in that the wood's not going in the right direction, and sometimes that happens. So what we need to do now is we need to go over to our UV editing, and we need to make sure that these are unwrapping correctly, because that's not how we actually want them to unwrap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to hide each of these. So I'm going to come in, grab this end, press H, hide them out of the way. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this face here, I'm going to press Alt, Shift and click, and then it's going to grab them going all the way around there. Now what I need to do is I need to press U, Light Map Pack, click OK, U, Follow Active Quads, click OK. And you should end up with something like that. And now you can see that wood follows this all the way around. So now we can press Tab, hide that out of the way, and now let's do the same on the next one. So I'm going to grab this face, Alt, Shift and click twice, U, come down, Light Map Pack, OK, U again, and then Follow Active Quads, OK, and then let's just have a quick look. You can see there that this one's going the wrong way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I think it's going the wrong way around, I'm going to press Tab, A, R, 90, let's spin it around and have a look what that looks like. Nope, it was going the wrong way around, so let's spin it around again, so R, 90. Let's make it a little bit smaller, so I'm going to shrink it in, I'm going to press G, just to move it into place. And let's have a look what that looks like now. Just make sure that you're happy with it, so you can see that wood looks actually quite nice like that. I think I'm going to shrink it in a little bit more, and let's have a look at that. And then I think I'm going to spin it round actually again, so R90. Yeah, and there we go. That looks much, much better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just comparing it now with the other side. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to press Tab, H, hide it out of the way, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the next one. So I'm going to grab this one, Alt, Shift and click, U, light map pack, OK, U, follow active quads, OK. And there we go. Now let's have a look at this one. So I'm going to press Tab, and that one looks nice as well. So I think we've just got one more left. So I'm going to hide that one out of the way, and then I'm going to come to the next one. And again, we've got 4 of these, so we might as well fix these before we actually mirror them. So Alt, Shift and click, U, light map pack, OK, and then U, follow active quads, OK, and there we go. Now let's press Tab and have a look what they look like, and you can see now they look really, really nice. Now, if you want them to be all the same size, all you need to do is you need to press Alt H, bring everything back, A, make sure that you're happy with the way that they're going, and then come over to UV map, press the A button, and then just come up to where it says UV, come down, and you're going to average island scale, and that's going to make them all the same size. And then you can basically bring them in now, like so, G, and just put them in the UV, and you'll see now that they're all going the right way, except maybe this one and this one on the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them a little bit bigger, like so. Let's have a look what that looks like. Yeah, and I'm happy with how that looks now. Alright, so there we go. A bit of fiddling around to get that right, but in the end now it looks really, really nice, and it's ready now for mirroring. So let's come over now to modeling, and then what we're going to do is going to press the question mark just to bring everything back. I'm going to put it on material so I can see what I'm doing. So that's going to do it for this one, guys, and the next one will be out tomorrow, so I hope to see you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed that, hope you learned a lot. Happy modeling everyone, and check out the links down below. See you on the next one. Bye bye.